Good morning. So I have some old retreat notes here. The Zen Teachings of Bodhidharma by Red Pine has some really poignant ways of getting us to understand what this is that we do. What is Zen? So from the teachings of Bodhidharma uh, from Red Pine, he says, trying to find a Buddha or enlightenment is like trying to grab space. Space is a name, but no form. Can't pick it up, you can't put it down. Oh, this is Zen. Now, to understand what liberation is, to see form but not be corrupted by form, to hear sound but not be corrupted by sound is liberation. It's the only liberation. There's no other liberation. Ears that aren't attached to sound are also the gates of Zen. Eyes that aren't attached to form are the gates of Zen. In short, those who perceive the existence and nature of phenomena and remain unattached are liberated. And he goes on to say, not thinking about anything is Zen. Once you know this, walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, everything you do is Zen. The essence of the way is detachment, and the goal of those who practice is freedom from appearances. So, whoever hears and believes the teachings embark on the great vehicle and leaves the three realms. The three realms are greed, anger, delusion, or ignorance. To leave the three realms means to go from greed, anger, and delusion back to morality, meditation, and wisdom. The great vehicle is the greatest of all vehicles. It's the conveyance of bodhisattvas who use everything without using anything and who travel all day without traveling. Such is the vehicle of Buddhas. So, this particular phrase, because I'm about to go traveling in June, who use everything without using anything and who travel all day without traveling. This has been somewhat of a conundrum for me because I really want to be excited about the trip. But on the other hand, I'm not excited about the trip because for me, I travel all day without traveling. And so that's not to sound like I don't care, because obviously I do. I'm participating in this phenomena, obviously. So the discriminating mind comes into play. It's important to know the difference between what's dirty and what's clean. Obviously, we have to discriminate. While I'm traveling, I'll be discriminating. I'll be choosing what to do, what not to do. But hopefully, this will come from a clear mind, clear like space, rather than a deluded view that comes from attachment. So, as we travel, and we travel lightly, we travel without attachment. Looking at our history, the causes and conditions of our lives, and we look at them carefully, we can see that these burdens that we carry are consequences of the actions and the thoughts and the way we viewed ourselves in the world and created these situations for ourselves. So that carries on. So as I'm traveling, it's very likely that my karma will come into play. So those will be my challenges. And that's the way it is for all of us as we travel. But those challenges, from the point of view of a mind that's clear like space, sees them way differently than someone who is overwhelmed by their burdens. To see your way through, to hear sound but not be corrupted by sound. Eyes that aren't attached to form are liberation. That's the only liberation. So Zen is a special step in the evolution of what Buddha brought to our experience as humanity. Beyond consciousness is our original nature. When we say your original face before you were born, we're talking about original nature, which is the same for all of us. That's what is also called big mind. Big mind is different than little mind. Little mind is your consciousness of how things are. So, another way of seeing mind that's clear like space is there is no difference. There's nothing to hold on to, nothing to attach to, nothing to weigh, compare. Just this. So the Dharma, when it's really correctly presented, is no different. One teacher may have a little bit, as Dan mentioned the other day, last Wednesday, we had another session and it was brought up, well, if 5 people show up here and each one thinks they know, who's got correct view? And Dan mentioned, if I may paraphrase, that yes, they may all have a little bit of a difference in terms of how they approach, and their instrument might be tuned a little bit differently, but essentially, doesn't it have to be the same? Yes. Yeah, that's what mind to mind transmission is, you see. It's something you recognize, not other, not something you take on, something you adopt, but it's something you already have that you see. So that's when I talk about an original smile, having a real smile, not a pretend smile. Oh, I'm smiling. That's what that is. That's mind to mind experience, clarity. And our meditation, what does that do for us? That helps us to get clarity in our lives and move on through whatever it is that happens to be in front of us to deal with. And why does that work? Because when you're meditating, you hear sound, but you're not corrupted by sound. You perceive nature and phenomena, but you're not attached to it. So our perceptions don't stop. You see, we don't go to some other world. That's called liberation. Just here, just now, just this, just the way it is. Thank you very much. So, comments today, questions? I'd love to hear from you. I always love hearing from you.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting to go through the process. I mean, obviously, the clarity and the not being attached and these things are ideal. Like this is a places we can find ourselves. But if we for some reason feel like we haven't found ourselves there, then this becomes an ideal. So, or like a repetitive "I'm not there yet" kind of thing. And it's what I've been noticing in my practice is that over all this time, I had nothing to do with any clarity that I ever experienced. And when there wasn't clarity, there's nothing but burdens and challenges and all the things that we deal with day to day, or we deal with personally, like what's my story, what are my challenges, where does the challenge come from, and the story just gets codified as,
Yes.
like,
Yeah. So in the realm of the eight consciousnesses, that's what you're talking about.
Hmm.
The clarity is not part of those eight consciousnesses. Part of the eight consciousnesses because of this, and our attachment to I. So that's okay. I mean, we have to have these eight consciousnesses because we have them. It's no argument, you know, not trying to take you out of it, you know. Uh, but if you can be with those aspects of experience gently, like a baby, rather than and have it be, put on your armor and do battle with self, but hold it gently, then I think you're closer to your original nature's illuminating presence that helps you through it. So when that happens to me, when I get really stuck in the current experience of my suffering, let's just call it that, I have to wait it out sometimes. I can't do anything about it, but to just totally, like you say, get into it, be totally experiencing it in order to see it for what it is. And then if I'll say if I'm fortunate, or if the time is right, or karmically I'm, ready for the change, I see something about it that I can learn from and then move on. So yeah, it's the journey and nothing wrong with it. It's excellent, excellent. It's just that, you know, trying to make it better. What can I say? It's pretty hard to do that. We can only appreciate it for what it is. Can't really make it better. Although it is better once you appreciate it for what it is.
So part of making it better is not making it better.
Part of
Make it better.
Yes, making it better by not making it better. Of correct action, correct thinking, and doing things correctly with clarity, as opposed to with delusion, deluded view. There is a difference. And that clarity can come from our practice. So when you start to go down that road of that delusion and you see it coming, it's almost like that's illumination right there. It's like, oh yeah, there's that again. I see it. Cool. I see it. Before you end up doing something you will regret. Now, quite often we do things that we're going to regret later because we're not in touch with our mirror-like mind. We're caught up in our views, our judgments, our positives, negatives. Getting back to the eight consciousnesses. So as long as we're caught up in those, places that, yeah, we see, but we only see through this lens because that's the way we've always seen things. So those are all delusions. So it's possible to see that from a clear mirror mind and not have to say, oh, okay, well, that's me. So I guess what it comes down to, what I'm trying to say about ego really is to hold it gently, like a baby. Because if anything happens to me that gets me in trouble more than anything else, is my ego. It's when I'm really attached to how I see things and I want to be right. Hey, I'm right. Yeah. So, but I hear you. Yeah. That's one of the things I really like about what you contribute is you always bring it down to earth. You always say, yeah, that all sounds good, but here it is. This is what we're going through. And you're right.
I think that the practice is like, um, someone sets out on the practice because of their vision of it, like what
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be like.
Uh-huh.
And then you start to do it, and then you feel your toes, you feel your fingers, get a backache, or something's happening that in your mind that you can't control and you don't know why, because up until now you never tried. So I think
Yeah.
it's always like a good thing to speak to it completely, like, because people have so many varying experiences behind this. Some will just in a snap are like, ah, that's perfect, everything's perfect. uh but for the most part, I think people are very surprised with how difficult it can be just to do the things that are suggested, like just sit, relax, be in your body, breathe, pay attention, calm your mind. Just doing those things will bring up.
Well, as you were describing the meditation process, I was thinking about another way it's described, which is it's burning, it's a fire. So another analogy that I've heard or metaphor is like, a pan of frozen water, which is like your personality and all your experiences in the phenomenal world. And the meditation is like this little flame that's melting and you slowly, get clear water and seek through it more and more and more and more as it goes. And eventually it becomes just steam as things fall into the psh, this psh, it's vaporizes before it even gets into a solid ice sheet. So that meditation process can be kind of described like that, but nobody said it was easy. But some people do say it's easy. So easy, hard, that's a judgment. But I hear you, and you're right. Uh, it's a it's a challenge. I think on that note we can end. Thanks.
People